Today I want to talk to you about the due diligence process in North Carolina. If you're moving from out of area, another state, you may not be familiar with our residential contract and its due diligence process. Due diligence is typically used in commercial real estate, so those buying in the Carolinas for the first time may be surprised to learn that our residential contract also has a due diligence process built in. Over the years, North Carolina has had many different types of purchase contracts. I've been selling real estate for 17 years. When I got started in the business, we had a repair contract where the seller was able to make certain repairs or make changes to the home or pull permits retroactively in order to make the process move forward. The problem with this was that the sellers would often make repairs that were subpar. We would find that the seller's interests were to make repairs as cheaply and quickly as possible, finding every contractor they could, or unlicensed contractor in many cases, to make these repairs just to make things patched up and move forward. This resulted in lots of problems. We had contracts falling out of escrow, buyers coming back into town the day before closing, only to discover that the repairs were made in a very poor workmanlike order. And this caused a lot of contracts to blow up and things not proceed to the closing table. So North Carolina adopted a due diligence style contract. And what this means is this: you pay the seller a market-based fee to pull the home off the market for you to complete any and all inspections. This includes your general home inspection, a pest inspection, appraisal, engineer if necessary, and many other types of inspections. During this process, you gather your findings, and during your due diligence period, you present your findings to the seller and you ask for a concession based on the repairs and the quotes that you've obtained during your due diligence period. This period of time may last 2 weeks, it may last 3 weeks. We occasionally see 3.5, even 4 weeks for more complicated properties, but typically 2 to 4 weeks is a general range, with 3 weeks being very commonly the average. This period of time is market-based. So during the boom time, when we were crazy busy a couple of years ago, we saw buyers that were really shortening this due diligence window, making this say only a few days, and they would have an inspector on order, ready to go, get in the house very quickly, very rushed decision making. Currently, we're seeing more of a 3-week average. Buyers are able then to have a little bit more breathing room, some time to get those folks and experts in the house, get those quotes back, and make a determination as to whether they want to move forward at all, and if they do, under what sort of ask or request to the seller. The request you make to the seller is called a DDRA, Due Diligence Request and Addendum. That's attached to the purchase contract, and that can be formulated in 2 different ways. You can either ask the seller for a dollar amount concession, which is typically what my team recommends. You get the dollars, and then at closing or after closing, you can order these repairs to be made, you oversee them, and you know the quality of work that's performed. Or the seller can also offer to make the repairs. And this works if the repair is pretty simple, if it's something cosmetic, if it's something that you're able to really verify very quickly and easily. If it's something more complex and the seller's making the repair, we always recommend a re-inspection, which is where you'll send your inspector or engineer back out. They'll take a look at the work that was done and determine the workmanlike order that was done in. So that's a general process for due diligence in North Carolina. Again, a fee is paid to the seller takes their home off the market, you essentially own the contract, if you will, and it's up to you whether you choose to perform on the contract or not. The best part of this contract is that if you're not satisfied with the findings, or if you're freaked out with what, you come back, the engineer says, oh my gosh, there's so much wrong with the house, the seller cannot just rig things together and force you to proceed with the purchase, which is the case in many other states. In a lot of other states, the seller can make these repairs, and what the workmanlike order is sort of vague. It's kind of hard to determine what is workmanlike and what is not. And again, this is what North Carolina had for many, many years when I started selling real estate, and it created nothing but headaches, confusion, lawsuits, and frustrated buyers and sellers. So under due diligence, while it is frustrating to pay that fee to a seller, and it is non-refundable, when that fee is paid to that seller, you have every right then to walk for any and all reasons. So as long as your request is reasonable and you have a good buyer's agent advocating for you on your behalf, then you should come out on top with a great outcome. And that's what my team is here really to do, and that is to advocate for you and make sure that the request that you're presenting is market-based, is factual, and is based on what we see in the market at the present time. In a more hurried market, in a more seller's market, we will see that request drawn a little bit tighter. We'll see the time period be narrowed, and we'll see that folks are not making as many requests. In a more balanced market, we see that there are more requests made, the period of time is longer, and of course, in a market that shifts dramatically to a buyer's market, we'll see that due diligence fee gets really honed in, it becomes a lot smaller, and that period of time becomes a lot longer. So buyers are given the leverage in that time. Currently, we're seeing a more balanced market where things are sort of in the middle. Again, a 3-week due diligence period, we are seeing these fees really vary. This depends again on the neighborhood, school district, if the property's in multiple offers, was this the first weekend on the market? Those sort of situations all come into play, and your agent is really the one that can guide you as far as what that due diligence fee should look like.